Hello everyone, I'm Rocco Limongelli from Sant'Anna School of Advanced Studies. Welcome to this Regulate lecture on Introduction to the EU Data Strategy. Today we will be looking at data ownership, the European Data Strategy, the Data Governance Act, and the Data Act. So first of all, before talking about data ownership, we need to understand what data is. And data under EU regulations means any digital representation of facts, or information, and any compilation of such facts, or information, including in the form of sound, visual, or audiovisual recording. I'm sure from this definition you'll understand how broad and how wide the meaning of data is, and therefore it's quite important to understand the EU approach to regulating data. Data nowadays has become extremely valuable, and therefore, as for anything valuable, your mobile phone, your laptop, your house, your car, you want to protect it. And what better way than ownership? Unfortunately, however, with data, ownership is not possible. The reason for it is that the concept of ownership has been developed through centuries, having as a legal object tangible assets. Therefore, with data, it is impossible to apply such a doctrine. The European Data Strategy aims to provide clarity on data ownership through legislative initiatives like the Data Governance Act and the Data Act, which we will discuss briefly in a second. In doing so, the European Union has moved towards the concept of data management rather than ownership. Management being the expression of access, control, portability, and erasure. So let's take a closer look to the European Data Strategy. The overreaching vision and objectives of the strategy are, first, to establish a single market for data. And what does that mean? What is a single market for data in the European Union? Well, it means the creation of a space where data can flow freely across all EU member states, across sectors and businesses, with non-discriminatory access rules. The aim is to break down data silos, encourage the sharing and reuse, and ensure data availability. This will enable the EU to fully leverage the potential of the vast amounts of data generated every day in the European Union. And the final aim is to drive innovation, economic growth, and societal progress. The second objective, as you can see here, is for the EU to become a global leader in the data-driven society. In fact, the European Union does not just aim to keep pace with the global data revolution, but to take a leading role in it by fostering innovation, investing in infrastructure, and nurturing skill and capabilities, as we're doing today with this series of lectures, the EU plans to take a leading position in the data revolution. And the third objective is to ensure the protection of data and uphold privacy rights by creating rules for the access, control, and use of data. The vision emphasizes that the EU data economy must be built on foundation of trust, respect for privacy, and strong data protection. This is reflected in the stringent data protection rules that we are already very familiar with. And if you're not, there is another lecture in this series about the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR. The European data strategy is not just about enabling data access and use, but doing so in a way that respects European values and protects individuals' rights. And the way that the European Union wants to achieve this is through two pillars, as I like to call them, which are two pieces of legislation: the Data Governance Act and the Data Act. So let's have a look to the Data Governance Act. The Data Governance Act is a crucial part of the European strategy for data. It aims to bolster trust in data sharing, fortify mechanisms to boost data availability, and address technical challenges related to the reuse of data. The Act was published in the official journal of the European Union in June 2022. And depending on when you're watching this lecture, it might be already in force. It is in force from September 2023 or since September 2023. Again, depending on when you're watching this lecture. This legislation intends to promote the development of common European data spaces, which are being set up in strategic industries in the European Union. It will involve both private and public entities in various sectors, such as health, environment, energy, agriculture, and more. This initiative seeks to make more data available across sectors and businesses in the EU member states. This will eventually enable EU countries and businesses around the EU countries to develop innovative products and services, making the economy more efficient and sustainable within the European Union. And if you can see on this slide, just a few benefits of this act, which are being projected by the European Union. And for instance, using health data can improve personalized treatment and help cure rare diseases, saving approximately, it is estimated, 120 billion euros a year in the EU health sector. Furthermore, mobility data as well can save more than 27 million hours of public transport users' time. And it is estimated that it's going to save around 20 billion euros a year in labor costs. But let's look at the four key measures outlined in the Data Governance Act. And these are the reuse of public data, ensuring trustworthy intermediaries, enabling citizens and business to contribute their data through data altruism organization, and generally simplifying data sharing across sectors and businesses within the Union. With this act, in fact, the EU aims to be at the forefront of the second wave of data-based innovation, driving new jobs and reducing barriers for businesses to enter the market. This will ultimately, hopefully, result in evidence-based policies and better solution to societal challenges, such as, we've experienced it quite recently, the COVID-19 pandemic could have benefited a lot from better data sharing practices and policies. Let's now have a look at the Data Act. The Data Act, it's a key pillar of the European data strategy, but it's not yet into force. While the Data Governance Act, as I mentioned, is coming into force in September and was published in the official journal of the European Union, the Data Act has reached the stage of a political agreement between the European Parliament and the Council and is yet to be published in the official journal of the European Union. We now, therefore, need to await formal approval, after which it will become effective 20 days after its publication in the official journal, and applicable, enforceable, after 20 months. This act is a critical tool for ensuring fair and transparent data usage, especially in the field of the Internet of Things. In fact, the implementation of the Data Act aims to establish equitable guidelines concerning the utilization of data produced by the Internet of Things or devices interconnected that way. The Data Act works hand in hand with the Data Governance Act. While the latter lays out processes and structures to facilitate data sharing, the former defines who can create value from this data under which condition. The key objective of the Data Act include providing fairness in the use of data, clarifying ambiguities surrounding data rights, and ensuring that no select entities is able to monopolize the value derived from data. And that's a big problem we've seen with social media platforms, to which the European Union is giving importance in this legislation. The Act introduces several crucial measures. This include increasing legal certainty for companies and consumers generating data, preventing contractual abuses that could hinder fair data sharing, allowing public sector bodies access to privately held data, sometimes necessary for the public interest, and setting rules for seamless switching between different data processing service providers, such as cloud services. It's a big thing in the Act. So this was an overview of the EU data strategy, the concept of data ownership, why it's not applicable, what's the European Union vision, and how, through which legislative measures they're trying to achieve this. In the next lecture, we will look in more detail to what the Data Governance Act and the Data Act bring into play. Thank you.